Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Plooza. Thank you for joining us. My guest is returning guest, artist Dan Nokes. Dan, thank you for being here.
How's it going?
It's going well. For those watching or future watching, Dan is an artist, and make sure to check out his links. Check out his art page on Facebook. That is the 21st Century Sand Shark Studios. You can check that out on Facebook. And appearances in Central Florida Comic Con, January 21st and 22nd in Lakeland, Florida. That's a Saturday, Sunday. Happy Valley Comic Con in State College, PA, February 25th and 26th. That's also a Saturday and Sunday. So make sure if you are in the area, stop, say hello to Dan, and buy some awesome artwork and comics. And that is the plug segment. Dan, welcome back to the show.
Good to be back.
So, we were talking a little bit beforehand, and I know you've done various conventions. I saw you at West Virginia PopCon
Yeah.
this year.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have kind of like your favorite conventions that you worked this year as a guest?
I guess off the top of my head, I always got to go with Virginia Comic Con because I work for those guys, so little bit of favoritism there. But on top of that, Baltimore is always a favorite with me because that's where I started at back 20 years now. It's now past the 20th anniversary. I want to say I usually like doing Awesome Con. The couple of times I was been up to Alaska for Alaska Comic Con. By the way, quick shout out to those guys for next year for their show. I want to say I genuinely enjoy the shows that are geared more towards the comic book reading and appreciative crowd rather than the fan cons and pop culture conventions. I've had ones where I've done well with those, but I think Baltimore definitely falls under that one where it seems to be more of you get a clientele or a fandom that comes in that is more interested in the medium of comics, not necessarily stuck on this very, I don't know, I hesitate to use the word rudimentary, but very myopic view of comics. That it's just two companies, one genre of storytelling, and that's it, rather than people that are more interested in the medium itself and what the potential of the storytelling is within that.
That's great, and I'm glad that you were able to attend all those conventions, and that you had great success. So definitely keep it up, and let us know if there's anything else need promoted or where you're going to be at. We're always about that and promoting within the Danapalooza Facebook page. So for those watching, make sure that you always look in the Danapalooza Facebook page.
Cool.
So, as the year is kind of winding down, is there any projects that you are currently working on?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, right now I am preparing a sequel to my very last comic book project, which was the one before that was called Chicken USDA Rejected, and features I guess he's not here, he's next door. Um, a I would say 2.5 foot tall plush chicken who goes by the moniker of Chicken, and I'm working on a sequel right now called Battered and Fried.
There you go. Are fans able to pick that up through website, or would that only be through conventions?
Right now, USDA Rejected is available through both coming and seeing me at shows, but you can also pick it up at my website, www.21sandshark.com, and just go under the, I guess the store, look under books, and you'll be able to find a copy there. I usually do sign and sketch all my books. And like I said, I'm about 52, no, about 53 pages into the sequel. And I'm planning to launch the Kickstarter on February 2nd of next year. I picked February 2nd because it's my birthday and it's the one time that all the social media algorithms work in my favor.
There you go. And what a way to celebrate the birthday with a kickoff. Kick off your birthday, do the kickoff for your
Yeah,
project. So
it's definitely going to be the most ambitious Kickstarter I've done to date. So basically, I'm looking to pull out all the stops on that one. I'm hoping to a couple of Hail Mary passes for quote unquote pinup and alt guys, comic cover guys come through and have a nice lineup for the bonus section, plus some new bells and whistles to entice both returning people in and some new people in as well.
very good. So as an artist, I know that you also do commission work. What is probably the most frequent commission that you're asked? Is there a certain character that people often ask you for?
If it's one of my own, it's usually chicken. If it's not, I'll say this: when I do sketch covers, I tend to do. I mean, sometimes I'll do characters that I know will sell well, or at least my style tends to gel with. I want to say the top three right now are like three or four. Like Rick and Morty comes up a lot. Bob's Burgers is another one. Daria tends to come up a list. Probably like the adult cartoon stuff tends to like flow my way. Also, Calvin and Hobbes, I think, is one that I do a lot that people tend to gravitate toward. Or at least my version of Calvin and Hobbes is well received. So yeah, that's basically if I get asked to commission, it's not necessarily towards superhero type of stuff, but I think since my style more closely resembles that of 80s American alternative comics of that era, or even into the 90s, I tend to think requests come along the lines of that style or that form of sensibility.
Yep, and that's what I think has sold, and what I have generally enjoyed. I know I have picked up a Ninja Turtle piece that you worked on, and I know when I first met you, I don't know if you remember, but I picked up an Alice in Wonderland sketch poster that you had done. So
Yeah, it's one of my more popular ones. My uh, I like I said, my style, I would say, kind of, especially in the coloring. That one was a watercolored piece, and it definitely has a more dilapidated and industrial look to it than, say, your standard Disney fare that tends to represent Alice in Wonderland up to a certain point.
yes, and that's what I found it intriguing, was that it was kind of it had a little bit of a dark edge to it. You know, it was different, and I appreciated the styles and the difference in kind of like what the Disney version is, that you have your own spin on it. So
Yeah, it's like when people come up and say, like, "Oh, you have a very clean style." I'm like, I don't see it, but I'll take the compliment.
as long as I make money in bank, you know,
Yeah,
I take the
yeah,
it's
it's like,
all
as quote unquote like an art tour type. It's like I'll sit there and question it, but like as the businessman, I mean, it's like, okay, whatever you say.
good. Yep. Uh, so, um, is there a future convention that you would really like to work at, you know, someday, or be a guest at? Do you have one in mind?
I don't know. Like at this point, I've done a large amount. I've done a few West Coast shows. I did San Diego once. I've done WonderCon either. I want to say twice. I've done WonderCon. I've done San Francisco, San Diego. I've never been out to Los Angeles. I'm kind of curious, so I'd love to do an LA show. I would love to go out to check out the Northwest. like Portland, Seattle. What's the big one out there in Portland? Reed Pop owns it. I love to go check that one. Oh, Emerald City, I believe it's called. I love to go check out that one. Rose City Comic Con. Uh, I've never been out to New England either. I wouldn't mind going checking out shows in Boston or Connecticut, Vermont. I know there's some good ones out there. Otherwise, I've done a couple shows in Texas. Um, I would actually another one I love to at some point check out is like either go out to London. I was going to do some international shows, which I know there's its own headaches. A couple out in Canada. I would love to go check out London and Angoulême out in France. That's one of the biggest ones in the country, or about on the planet actually. Um, and I know there's a big comic show out in Japan. I would love to check out as well. Did I lose you? No. Hello. Hmm. Hey Dan, are you there? Oh no, I lost him. Hey,
Hey, so there was
lost you
some
there.
technical glitch, and I'll fix it in the
It's
editing.
all editing. Just put a Godzilla thing going in there and we'll be all
Yeah.
good. And then a creature came out and tried to eat the set.
Yeah, it's like
Um,
but um, I mean, I know we were talking about conventions, and you had mentioned going out to Texas and Boston and London.
yeah, like I said, I have other ones I would love to check out. Like, I love to do something international, like go to like Canada, London, and I know there's a big one out in France, Angoulême, I believe it's called, and then and I know there's a large one in Japan. Again,
Well, well, I hope you make it out to those. But
all
yeah,
right, same here, same here. I want to say there's a couple of other ones here and there. I wouldn't mind going down to Florida for what's the one, the big one down there?
MegaCon.
Yeah, MegaCon. I wouldn't mind checking out. I also wouldn't mind checking out. Out in Detroit, Steel,
Motor City.
yeah, Motor City, not Steel City. I had a bit of a discussion about Steel City today.
I've seen people have also reached out to me on that.
Yeah.
So.
Like I've asked about it, and again, I have never done that show, so I can't say that it's a good
Mhm.
show or a bad show. I just anybody for every one person that tells me it's something I should check out, I want to say most of my artist friends have gone and told me like avoid it like the plague. It's a celebrity show, and that's fine. If it is what it is, then I'll leave it alone. But if it, again, I'm not gonna go and throw money down on an event that has a reputation of like you're going to get lost in the shuffle there.
Right. Yeah, you got to look out for you and do what's best for you and your art and making money. You can't, you know,
It,
lose money.
yeah, it's a shame because it's only an hour and a half away. But you know, I'm not going to throw several $100s down down the tank for a table, hotel. Well, I don't know if I have to get a hotel or not, but at least for the gas to get up there and back.
Can always set a table out front, you know.
There you go. From what I hear, like they're the last one, people were like waiting outside the building and
Yeah,
looping around.
I saw
Uh,
that.
so yeah, again, I'm not gonna badmouth the show because it might be
No.
that's its design is
Yeah.
for celebrity interaction and people to go and get
Hmm.
uh cheap yard sale level swag. So it's like,
Yeah,
okay, no, you know, there's an audience for that, and that doesn't
yeah,
overlap with my audience.
definitely. Um, I know. Would you ever? Because I know like your artist style. I know like convention that I like to go to and that I've been to. Do you do any? Do you do any of like the horror conventions, or is that like not
I've done
within
a
your?
few, and I would love to do more. I just my only couple I've only had a couple problems with going to them, and that's usually either a they overlap something, or some of
Mhm.
the other ones have a very high booth fee for getting in. Like
Yeah.
some of them have anywhere between like $250 to $400, and I'm kind of
Oh
like,
wow.
uh, no, no. And then like some of them are like 3 days long, and you got to find hotel on top of that. It's always a
Yeah.
matter of like, what am I going to spend versus what I think I can make back on it. And I got at least got to try for breaking even, if not, making double to triple what I invested into it.
Yeah. Because.
I would love to go to horror shows. Like I tend to see your typical, and again this it varies from show to show, but the horror shows that I do to go to, it's usually an older audience that has a lot more disposable income and more apt to try out what it is that I do. I would put the polar opposite of them as anime shows. Like, and again,
Mhm.
some anime shows I've done better from, and some I do. But prototypically, I don't do amazingly well at anime events because it's a much younger audience. They tend to gravitate toward not necessarily towards books or the type of books that I do. They're more towards plush items and trinkets and
Yeah.
stickers,
Collectibles.
collectibles, Funko Pops,
Yes.
and that's fine. But I always say that when people say, "Why don't you go and try out?" People say, "Why don't you go and try out Otakon?" It's like, I have no interest because I know it's going to be like 40 or 50,000 people that are not into my stuff, and don't spend most of their disposable income getting in and buying some sort of overpriced whatever that giant plush thing they're carrying around is, and the bunch of stickers they had, and whatever the overpriced food they have at the concession stand is. So by the time they get to me, they're looking like, no, no. Like in general, I am an artist and creator that, and I don't say this as like, oh, woe is me. I say it as a matter of fact. People don't, in general, don't come in to get independent comics. They don't come into the shows to get small press comics. They're there to get their celebrity autographs. They're there to get the rare artifact that they can't find anywhere else. They're there to interact and see the cosplayers. They're there for camaraderie. The last thing on their list is to come see me and buy the strange blood fever manifesto I have put in word and picture form. And again, that's fine. I work within those confines and make them work for me, but I also know the realities of the situation.
Right. Because I was because one that I go to the Horror Realm Con and
Yeah,
in Pittsburgh, and I didn't know if you ever thought of that show, but I know it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday show.
I would definitely be interested. I'm planning to do. I would really like to go do the one they're doing in June, the comic convention that's coming through there. Three Rivers, that's it.
Three Rivers Comic Con, yeah.
Yeah. Three Rivers, I would love to go do just because, again, I live in Altoona, and that only puts
Okay.
it, maybe 2 hours away, 2.5 hours away from where I live. Easy drive up and back. Well, I say easy drive, but everybody's warned me about the way the roads work in Pittsburgh. I've driven the highways going around Pittsburgh, but I've never gone to the local roads. So everybody tells me one wrong turn, you'll wind up in Ohio.
This is very true. You'll be like, I'm in Marietta. I've wandered off the pathway.
But yeah, no, I'm definitely interested in shows like that. I'm definitely, since I moved up to Western PA from Virginia, I definitely want to check out like Ohio and parts of upstate New York and whatever, figuring out what the audience is around here. I mean, I spent several years getting like that Maryland and Virginia crowd, so now I'm kind of in a new area, so I kind of have to build up that audience as well.
Yeah, definitely. I know there's that. There's the Sci-Fi Valley Con. I know that's in
Yeah,
Elkhorn.
they're my quote unquote local show. I mean, they're very local in the idea that they're only 5 miles away. So it's quite possibly one of the two most no brainer shows I will do this year. Uh, like I said, it's only 5 miles from home. All I really have to pay for is the table to get in. I'm hoping, like I said, I'm hoping to use that to build up the quote unquote local audience to be, I guess, quote unquote, the local artist, hometown hero type of person. I say humbly.
Yes. But yeah, so I will talk because I have lots of different guests and friends. But yeah, if you're looking for conventions, maybe through some talks and everything, some I could point you out to if you would like.
Yeah, no, definitely not a problem. Like I said, I mean, my goal is to eventually be able to get off the road and have like online and work from home stuff be more of the moneymaker than going on the road. I definitely think Columbus. I had to work my backside off for that show. I did very well, but I definitely at one point. I mean, I have a reputation for like I have to back up that there was a guy. He was like when I first started. He was like the quote unquote learned scholar slash road warrior artist that we all knew in the area. His name is Pat Carlucci, who's unfortunately no longer with us. And one of the things, like, I got to talk to him a few times, and one of the things that like that he taught me was you can't be sitting there with your head bare. It's like you're nobody to or everybody around here right now. You're nobody artist that nobody recognizes. So you can't be sitting there with your head buried in some sort of sketch commission or looking for your phone, playing a game, reading a book. You've got to be engaged every single moment. So you kind of have to be standing up at your booth and be ready to like and quote unquote engage with the public, which I tend to think a lot of artist people or creative people in general, like they all kind of fit under this. I don't go as far to say antisocial, but definitely um, adverse to social interaction. Well, let's just say that. Um, and I'm definitely fit under that to a certain degree, but I can fake being outward and friendly long enough for me to quote unquote get the job done. And as getting back to point, I tend to stand up at shows for pretty much the entire time. So on Sunday, I'm talking with my neighbors, and I walk up to one person, and the first thing out of their mouth is like, "What's your workout routine?" I'm like, I go for a walk in the morning and I do like my little bit of 20 minutes worth of exercise. It's like, why? It's like, because you didn't sit down like almost the entire time we've been there. It's like, yeah, like I got a little pad that my girlfriend gets me to stand up on, but I basically like I have calves that look like a Neanderthals.
And I think that that's very important. Exactly what you said. I've been to many shows, and I have seen artists when they're buried in the work, and and then like I've had to like try to engage or go like down everything so I can like have like a conversation. I mean, I know you have time where it's slow and everything, but I feel like it's very important that you have to engage because you're selling your work and you have to present yourself so that way people can engage and buy your products.
Yeah, I like I said earlier, I'm an introvert that can fake being an extrovert long enough to get the job done.
Yeah.
And but then when it's like, and the day's over with, and it's like, all right, back to the house, lock in the room, watching the TV,
Yes.
hanging out with the cat. Humanity sucks.
Definitely. But what was probably your favorite thing to work on this year?
Hmm. I would say I would put finishing up the Kevin novel. I did my very first prose novel after 20 years of making comics. I found it a very fun experience, and I would be more than apt to doing it again. It was um it allowed me to tackle two things that I love doing, love working on, which is my love of history and comedy. I think are probably my two of my, like I said, it's historical comedy, so it's my way to blend and synthesize what I like together into quote unquote narrative and product form.
Very, very cool. So with that novel, is that also available for people to purchase?
Oh yeah, it's on that aforementioned website, www.21sandshark.com. I got copies of that and whatever is currently in print. I'm trying. I have a new printer that I joined up with after I got kicked off of Amazon.
Ah,
I had to get a new printer, so I've been slowly uploading. Um, I basically have to go and reformat my books to like a different size and a different format, different whatever DPI in order to match things. So every time I'm not working on a project, I go and spend a couple weeks on reformatting. So I have two more graphic novels that I have to do. One is basically finished and just needs to be uploaded, and the other one I had to actually go into the studio and reformat.
well, I'm glad that you were able to get that squared away and that the format's now working. Um, is there anything that you're looking forward to working in 2023?
Basically, right now it's getting the short term. It's getting the chicken book finished off, battered and fried. I'm currently, like I said, about 53 pages, penciled and inked. I've done the first 6 pages of color. I'm definitely looking forward to launching the Kickstarter on February 2nd and getting that all ready to go.
Awesome. We look forward to that. Is there anything else you would like to say or promote or um, mention here on Danapalooza as we wrap things up?
Quick shout out to the Virginia Comic Con, who I work for those guys. Have hopefully somewhere in the near future we'll have some dates for 2023. But definitely check them out at www.vacomiccon.com for any kind of updates or social media presence. My friend Nick Davis with the Teddy Bear Tales, Tristan the Teddy Bear, and a large part of that universe I helped to design and give my little inputs to. Check them out at www.cuddlydefenders.com. Other than that, no, I think we're all good on that front.
All right. Well, that wraps up another episode of Danapalooza. I'd like to thank my guest, artist Dan Nokes, for being here on Danapalooza. Stay tuned. Our next guest is author and playwright Ann Geffellers Mason. Have a good night.